Hey guys, Spartan here. Welcome to my complete Reinhardt cliff charging guide for Total Mayhem. Total Mayhem because characters have double HP and sometimes 300 damage just doesn't cut it. So we're going to start off at New Body. This is a classic spot. If you've played with me in Total Mayhem, you'd know that this is my go-to spot in New Body, pretty much why I only play Reinhardt. It's the simplest one to do. All you have to do is stand as far back as you can right here and then charge. Now, this is obviously taking use of Reinhardt's charge's exact distance, meaning that you'll kill the enemy unless they have flight like D.Va or Pharah or something, meaning you can get an easy kill if you do that. Another thing you can do with charges is, at the end of it, you could use your hammer swing, which will push characters to the left, which means that they can get in, bad situations. Something to take note of about this charging spot is after you do it, there is a big 250 HP health pack where you can heal up before going back into the fight. Which brings us to the next charging point. In between where the shadows are, fully shadowy and bright, as you can see here, you can charge and just tap right and then left and then right again, and you can then charge them off here. Make sure you don't actually hammer swing though, because if you do, then you'll most likely push them to, well, whoever you're charging to the left, which they can land on this patch of grass, and then they can just get back up and start fighting again. So don't do that, despite the fact of how tempting it is. Next spot is here. This is where the payload goes across, obviously. And this little red marker is a good indication, just to stand at the end of it. And this will get you in a pretty good spot. You might not want to hammer because you can sometimes push them back onto land. But yep. This next spot here is a classic as well. It's kind of flexible because you get a lot of room, so you don't need an exact spot. It's kind of got a line across the ground that you can charge across, because there's just so much space here. So, yep, you charge, and since there's so much space, you can use a hammer swing to knock them to the left, which will grant you a lot of, potential charging, even if you were, further back or something. You can also use this area from this angle, just a bit from as far back as you can go, which will also net you a pretty good kill. You can charge to the right and use a hammer swing, but you don't need to usually. Next area is across where the payload rests at the first checkpoint. And this one's actually also really consistent because of how much space you have here. Granted, you'll need to hammer swing at the end, but that should come second nature to you if you're playing Reinhardt. So yep, there's plenty of area here where you can knock characters off. Even Wrecking Ball has trouble dealing with this because of how high the death box is. This next slot is the last one in Umbani that's actually useful. It's kind of tricky to do because you need to just do a sharp left at that spot. But once again, the death hitbox on this area is pretty high, so it's pretty useful. Junkertown has the obvious one, which I'm pretty sure everyone who's watching this knows about. Just simply stand on that plant there. This is super useful in defense when attackers just come rushing out. And free kill immediately there. Especially helps you with a Junkrat. Something to take note of, however, is that there is an invisible hitbox around here, so if you're trying to do kamikaze charges against Zaryas or Orissas, they won't work because there's a wall here, so that can be very inconvenient to you. So take that into account before doing stuff. You can use it to your advantage, I guess. So this plant here also marks the correct charging spot to, on the reverse. Be careful of this arrow, because if you pin someone before rushing past it, it'll count as hitting a wall. Now, you can charge there, and there is this little rock here, but it honestly isn't that much of a problem, because the momentum will most likely carry them off. Unless you're dealing with a Brigitte who can shield bash herself back onto land. Also, this rock here can be useful if you pin a D.Va and just want damage. Now, after collecting this health pack, which you'll most likely want to do because healing is always nice, you can get a pretty good charge here. Usually the enemy team will be lined up here, and there's also huge amounts of space here, so you don't even need to be precise here. In fact, instead of standing on the health pack, you can just stand at the doorway, and as long as you tap right a bit, you can just simply use your hammer to just knock them off. In fact, you can also charge from here if you miss, and as long as you're not as far back as you can be, a hammer swing will most likely knock them off. Take note of these rocks, however. They may be solid, as in you can charge into them, like, you know, right rock solid, left rock solid as well. But if you charge in the middle of them, then you will go flying, so try not to do what you're seeing in the video here. Another thing to take note of is that at the very end here, there are these rocks, which you can stand on, and so if you cliff charge someone here, most likely they're just going to get back up, so try not to do that, otherwise you're just wasting your time. Next charge, this is probably the most useful one actually, just alongside these gears that might be interested to Junkertown, you can get a pretty quick charge there. Now, we're starting off Route 66 with a pretty strange charge. This is very useful, however, if the payload is down over there, where Fire Strike is, because you can, if it's just right, clip someone who's standing on top of the payload, like a Bastion or something like that. Hammer also helps here in order to, you know, knock them off. Now, you may see me start off rounds of Overwatch like this, because usually the enemy team rushes down here, and if you just simply jump off and charge just right, you can get an immediate kill, which can really help you, since, you know, you've effectively given yourself an advantage. This one's also pretty damn easy, just stand at the sign and charge. You can also go a bit to the right and just use your hammer, but yeah, most likely you'll pin someone there, but if you do, hammer swing after that will pretty much just clear the way anyway. Oh yeah, so this one, like, it exists. Imagine I charge from the spot where I sprayed. The payload needs to have moved, however, otherwise you'll get caught on that railing. But if you charge from that spot that I sprayed, you can get a pretty good kill there. This one's also fairly useful, seeing as the payload travels by here, but you go to the end of that building after where the health pack is, so you can just refuel or something. And you can go here. Hammer swing is not that much of a problem because the rocks here are not easy to grab onto, and that one just is not solid at all, so yeah. This one, it's fairly useful. I believe I've used it a few times. You will need the hammer swing here in order to actually push them off, but it's fairly useful seeing as people gather around the payload in overtime there. But take heed, this wall is very inconsistent with its hitbox. It's shared with the wagon in Eichenwald, but only these two are the real problems you'll see with hitboxes. You can also do this charge, but I've only ever managed to actually get a kill from this once without killing myself. And it's pretty pointless, so I would not recommend you doing it at all. Now, you may think that, you know, I forgot the name of this map because it's so terrible, Rialto. You may think it's good, but it's actually very inconvenient, but we'll start off with a decent one. You don't even need to use a spray or a marking because there's a marking on the ground here. Easy kill if you're on defense. Now, the reason why I say this is inconvenient is, for example, if you go as far back as you can on here, it's in fact not enough distance for you to get a cliff charge there without, you know, killing yourself. Even if you go as far back as you can, then most likely you'll be blocked by these fucking pillars, so bad luck to you. On attack, however, this is actually a pretty good way to get a pick if you stand about here and charge. Be careful of this wall here because it has a bit of a wonky hitbox, but yep, easy kill there. Usually Orissa's stand by there, so as long as they're not using Fortify, you can get a kill. You probably shouldn't use this one, but I'm doing it just in case you need to. But yep, that's the correct distance to go to. And the reason you don't do that is, of course, because of the boats. If you charge someone and they just land on a boat, you're just merely inconveniencing them instead of actually killing them, and they can, well, they can kind of flank you then if you are playing defense, as they can just get up. This is probably the most useful charge spot, however. If you go pretty much as far back as you can get a kill here. Hammer swing kind of helps. Something to take note of, though, is that there is no coming back from this, so if you pin a diva here, you cannot crash into these because they are not solid. You'll just kill yourself. But you might as well charge her into the water anyway. Another way this map is inconvenient is because a perfectly long charge here just does not let you survive. This spot is actually pretty good, though it works on defense and offense, I guess. But yeah, you do this here, and you can charge them into this gap between the boats. It may seem like there's not enough room here, but this little fin at the end of the boat here is not solid, meaning that characters will just slide right past it. Watch Point Gibraltar, it's not that good because this is the charge spot for here. And what makes it not good is these rocks down here, which you can actually stand on them fairly easily, meaning that whatever character you charge down here is just going to get back up immediately. It's not very fun. Now, say you want to get a kill right immediately when the match starts an attack. That is the correct distance. Just charge up the stairs, knock someone off. And granted, people can come back from that, because that rock is kind of solid, but only really Junkrats and things like that can. This little doorway, you'll never find anyone to charge from there because inconvenience, but that's the correct distance in case you want to. This spot is more useful. You can use the, cables on the right to guide you. But yeah, this is a pretty good charge spot. And there is a little tiny rock here at the end of it after the slope. But the hitbox is so small that only really Tracer can stand on it. And you're not getting cliff charges on Tracer because they'll just recoil, so there's no point. Now, the best area is obviously here, because the payload gets crowded at the end here in overtime. And you can just get a quick cliff charge there. But if you want to do it to the right, say for example enemies are gathered on the right instead of the left, then use this little blinking light here, and you can get a cliff charge on the right. Which is pretty useful, considering the fact that Hammer Bash makes it so that Brigitte can have a bit of a problem getting back because she'll most likely hit that wall. Now if you have balls of absolute titanium, you can just do this, which I have no idea why you'd be up there in that building, but yeah, there's really no excuse for doing that. Okay, so Dorado has one charge spot because there's like no cliffs here, but if you do this, then just you get a kill. Make sure you break those walls first though. Eichenwald is very interesting because on defense you can immediately get a kill here if you time it right. And while you're getting away from this spot here, like you walk up here and try and regroup with your team, you can actually get another kill if you do this right. By standing about here, then you can get a charge. You just make sure you need to tap right a bit, and then left, then right. You can get a kill here. You need to be careful, however, because, as I have mentioned this like a bit before, the hitbox on the wagon that you pass by is a bit wonky. You'll see in these clips here. But yeah, do not take too much faith in the fact that you're going to miss this, because sometimes it does work, sometimes it just doesn't. It's like a half wall. Very inconsistent and very annoying. Next up, you can also chain into this one, I guess, but most likely it won't work. Charging up here, and make sure you hammer swing guaranteed, otherwise you're not getting anything from that. You just get nothing. This one is also kind of useful. More useful in defense than offense. And, yep, easy kill there. Make sure you do not charge the tree, though, because if you do, you will die, because of how weird the hitbox is. It's not really the hitbox, it's the distance. So this is a kind of double one. You can line yourself up with the tree here, and if you do, it makes you so you get perfectly there. And if you line up with the wagon, you can make sure that, you get it there. Also, these gravestones are not solid, so they will not interrupt your charges. This one is also really useful, so just simply spray there, and perhaps a bit more forward. But yep, also if you hammer swing, be careful, because there is a chance that you will knock whoever you're charging onto the platform on the left with enough force. So don't do that, otherwise you'll give yourself a headache. Blizzard World is the final map that we can actually click charge on. Charge from about here, and it gives you a decent amount of space. Like, you can charge there, left, right. It's the perfect charge for any meal. Sure to satisfy. Now, by these flowers where the payload travels, you also have another decent shot of being able to charge. So, plenty of room for error there if you choose to go back. I would not recommend charging here. Very rarely enemies will even be here, but it's also a pain to set up. So, yeah. And the final charging spot would be about here, where honestly you're never going to get a kill from doing this, but it's a possibility. Like, why? If you wanted to do that, most likely your team was going to be dead because their team's tank was not soaking up damage. So, yep, that is the last of the cliff charge spots. There's also, King's Row, but there's got one slot there, and you know it. So, yep, that's the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe, I don't know. I'll see you in the next video of whatever it is I upload. Goodbye.